Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Soranandana Prajajanna Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajanna Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivano Dari Yasodanandana Prajajanna Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajanna Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Srimad Paramahansa Prabhupada also tells that Srimad is divine grace, the A.C. Bhakti Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Honored Gauri Vaishnava ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai. Shri Maya Pranavadam Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ki Jai. Dos Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Pranam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glorious some devotees. All glorious some devotees. All glorious some devotees. All glorious, Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, verse number 45. Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Mantralingar Vyavachinam Bhajanto Na Vidu Param Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Mantralingar Vyavachinam Bhajanto Na Vidu Param Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Mantralingar Vyavachinam Bhajanto Na Vidu Param Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Mantralingar Vyavachinam Bhajanto Na Vidu Param Shabda Brahmani Duspare Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Shabda Brahmani Duspare Charanta Uruvistare Mantralingar Vyavachinam Bhajanto Na Vidu. Shabda Brahmani in the Vedic literature, Duspare unlimited, Charanta being engaged, Uru greatly, Vistare expansive, mantra of Vedic hymns, Lingai by the symptom, Vyavachinam partially powerful, the demigods, Bhajanta worshipping, Navidhu they do not know, Param the supreme. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki. Despite the cultivation of Vedic knowledge, which is unlimited, and the worship of different demigods by the symptoms of Vedic mantras, demigod worship does not help one to understand the supreme powerful personality of Godhead. Purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.20, Kayamaistars ter hritikhyana prabhudyante yadevata tam tam niyamam asthaya prakrutya niyata svaya. Those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto the demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Most people are interested in worshipping demigods to acquire powers. Each demigod has a particular power. For instance, the demigod Indra, the king of heaven, has power to shower rain on the surface of the globe to give sufficient vegetation to the earth. This demigod is described in the Vedas, Vajra Hastaha, Parandaraha. Indra rules the water supply with a thunderbolt in his hand. The thunderbolt itself is controlled by Indra. Similarly, other demigods, Agni, Varuna, Chandra, Surya, have particular powers. All these demigods are worshipped in the Vedic hymns through a symbolic weapon. Therefore it is said here, Mantralingar Vyavachinam. By such worship, karmis may obtain the benediction of material opulence in the form of animals, riches, beautiful wives, many followers, and so on. By such material opulence, however, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Yanatamandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksham Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Mukham Krotavachalam Pangun Lankayate Yat Kripa Taraham Bande Shigaram Dinataranam Vanchakalpatubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Devacha Paditanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevya Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Generally, we think that only materialistic people worship demigods. But we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam that even Nanda Maharaj and his friends, they were worshipping Indra to get rain. And they were going to do a big yajna. And Krishna came and said, Father, what is this yajna that you're preparing for? What is this? And Krishna was young, and Nanda Maharaj thought, well, he's not going to understand. So what Krishna said is like, what is this, a traditional, or this is this Vedic or traditional? And Nanda Maharaj said, well, yeah, this is kind of traditional. We're agriculturists. We need water, so we're worshiping Indra for rain. And Krishna, he said, "Oh, come, Father, this is not necessary. Rain it's even going on the ocean. Yeah, there's no yajna being performed there, but why rain is going there? Better just worship Govardhan Hill." Yeah. So Krishna is a very influential person. So he was convinced, Nanda Maharaj was convinced, so they worship Govardhan Hill. But generally people, they worship demigods to fulfill their material desires, get some powers. Just like it's said in the one purport, Prabhupada says, sometimes people, they worship the sun god. For what? To get free of disease, be healthy. Uma, worship Uma, to get a beautiful wife. So they worship demigods for different reasons. But they don't know that actually, without Krishna's sanction, demigods, they can't give any benediction to anybody. Krishna is the supreme controller. So better to worship Krishna than to worship the demigods. And actually the demigods, they're also, most of them are devotees, or sakama devotees. They worship Krishna with some material motive. But of course the goal is to engage in unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service, as we heard nicely yesterday from Dravida Prabhu. Savaya pungsong paro dharmo yato bhakti yatma supasiddhati. That the supreme occupational duty for all mankind is that by which one can engage in loving service to Krishna. This service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the self. So this is what satisfies the soul. All these things that the demigods are given, this doesn't satisfy the soul. One may get some temporary pleasure, but one doesn't achieve the ultimate satisfaction that the soul is searching for. And sometimes when Prabhupada would preach in India, people would complain, why Krishna? Why Krishna? Why not Shiva? Why not Brahma? Why not Aravinda or Vivekananda? Yeah, why? Mata praratang nanyat kinchidasti dhananjana. Prabhupada would say that there is no truth superior to Krishna. Everything is resting on Krishna. Shiva never said that. Brahma never said that. Aravinda never said that. Vivekananda never. No one. Jesus never said that. Allah never said it. But Krishna says it. Everything is resting on me. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarva pavartate. Iti madva bhajantimam buddha bhava samavata. That I'm the source of all material and spiritual. Everything is emanating from me. The wise who know this perfectly, they engage in my devotional service. So, and there's so many incarnations, but what is it said in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Krishna's too. Bhagavan Swayam. That everything, all these incarnations, they're coming from Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all these incarnations. Although sometimes it's a little confusion, because in the Bhagavatam it says that, Krishna is the 8th incarnation of Vishnu, or something like this. But then, I think it's right there in that area, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. He is the source of all the incarnations of Krishna. And you can see how this is true. That in the Leelas of Krishna, they're so attractive, so attractive, and you can have so many relationships with Krishna. With Vishnu, it's all in reverence. There's no real intimate dealings with Lord Vishnu. But with Krishna, it's just, and it's not that you're stuck in one relation. You could go into different relationships with Krishna. It's like an unlimited ocean of nectar there in serving Krishna. Yeah. So this is why Prabhupada would mostly promote worship of Krishna. Now another reason is that people don't, well, in India especially, they don't worship Krishna is because if you surrender to Krishna, he takes everything away. Yasyahamanu gunami hirsi taddanam shinai. Krishna says to Yudhisthira that to show special mercy to I take everything away. Yeah. But then what does he do? He gives himself, which is much greater than anything that one can get in this world. But no, they want wealth, they want opulence, they want a big house, and so very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And it was questioned that Lord Shiva, people, they worship Lord Shiva to get opulence, but Lord Shiva himself, he lives under a tree. But his followers, they become very wealthy. But Krishna, he's living very opulently. Goloka Vrindavan, Chintamani gems, you walk on Chintamani gems, you got Kalpavriksha trees, and Surabhi cows, great opulence. But his followers, they're poor, poverty-stricken. Just like today is the appearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami, such a great Acharya. Yeah. And he was the son of a very wealthy man, a multi-millionaire, the only son. Someone could only dream of being in a situation like that. But he had no interest whatsoever. He got the mercy of Haridas Thakur. Yeah. So he was attracted to Lord Chaitanya. He must have heard the glories of Lord Chaitanya from Haridas Thakur. I was just reading this yesterday. So he just wanted to surrender to Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu. But there was a problem. His parents were attached to him. And they got to the point where they had to hire guards. 10 of them. To make sure that he wouldn't escape. Yeah. So at one point he heard that Lord Nityananda was nearby. So he went, and when he got in the presence of Lord Nityananda, he of course he's God. Lord Nityananda, he's very effulgent. It's described that he glowed like suns. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he was just amazed seeing the effulgence of Lord Nityananda. So he didn't go close. He paid obeisances from a distance. He's shy also. So one devotee said, "Oh, look, Raghunath Das, he's paying obeisances to you, Lord." So he called Raghunath Das Goswami. He said, "You're like a thief. You're offering respects from such a distance. Now I'm going to punish you, you thief. Now you make a big feast for all the devotees here. Yeah. Chip rice festival." Yeah. So he said, "Oh, that's good punishment." Yeah. It's described that he put his feet on his head also. Such mercy. Imagine that. Getting the feet of Lord Nityananda on your head. Good punishment. Huh? So he arranged this big feast for chip rice and dahi. Chip rice and dahi, yogurt. So, and still to this day they have this around the world, right? Jayapataka Swami, he's very fond of this festival. They would have it annually in Atlanta, Georgia. So he was still trying to somehow escape. And was it Yadunandana Acharya? He was a great Vaishnava, so he went to the home of Raghunath Das, and he said, "My priest, he's not doing his duties. He's a Brahmana, but he's not inspired. Can you please come and try to inspire him so what he can do is, because we need a Brahmana, but there's not many Brahmanas around, so please can you inspire him to do his service again?" He said, "Oh yes, sure, certainly." Yeah. So he's going along. It must have been late at night because the guards weren't there. So yeah, they were snoozing. So he went, and then he thought, "Oh, this is my chance. Yeah, this is my opportunity." So he went into the forest. He didn't go on the main path. He went in the forest. I mean, and we're talking about Bengal. I mean, the real thick forest, Yeah, jungle. Yeah. Can't imagine how austere. I don't know if he had shoes or not. Maybe I don't know. But that must have been quite some austerity. I think it took like 20 days or something to get there. But he was so happy. With all the austerity, still he felt so happy because he was going to get the darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Dvita, yes. His guru, yeah. His initiating guru, Yadunandana Acharya. Yes. Yeah, he was the guru. So he helped him get the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. Yeah, the guru helped out. So finally he gets to Jagannath Puri and he's just in ecstasy. because now he's got the darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya, he put him in charge of, or he put Swarup Damodar in charge of Raghunath Das Goswami. And therefore his name is Swarup of Raghu. His name became Swarup of Raghu. Raghu Swarup. So he was there serving Lord Chaitanya, with Swarup Damodar. But he was so humble. He was so humble and so detached. It's described that he would go to the Singhadwara gate and he would beg for prasad from people. So he was doing that for some time. But then he thought, this is not proper. Begging. This person, actually Lord Chaitanya said, it's good he's not doing that anymore, because it's like a prostitute. This person gave yesterday, maybe he'll give today. This person didn't give, he probably, like that. So he stopped doing that. And finally he decided to just go to where the rejected rice was kept. Even the cows wouldn't take it. They'd spit it out. So he would wash it, and then Swarup Damodar heard about this. He said, "Why are you keeping this to yourself? All this nectar to yourself?" And then Lord Chaitanya heard about it. So he also went. Then he started eating, and Swarup Damodar was there. He said, "No, this is not fit for you, Lord Chaitanya. This is not fit for you." But Lord Chaitanya said, "No, this is like nectar. He's keeping this nectar to himself." So, yes, it's amazing. Such a wealthy person, but he lived such a humble life. And he would never speak. He would never speak to Lord Chaitanya. He was so shy, so humble. So one time he would speak through Swarup Damodar. So he asked Swarup Damodar, please ask Lord Chaitanya, what is my duty in life? What is the goal of my life? What is my duty? So he gave him 8 things. He said, don't dress very opulently. Don't eat very opulently. What's that? And always offer respects to others. Don't desire respect for yourself. Always chant the holy name of Krishna, and within your mind worship Radha and Krishna. There was a couple I forgot. But this is the instruction. We could all learn from this. The first, offer respects to others. Be very respectful towards others. Don't desire respect for yourself. Trinadi pisunichina tora pisahistana. So that's going to come along in the Shikshashtaka. So this is the great devotee Raghunath Das Goswami. So just being able to hear about such great Vaishnavas is our great fortune. If Prabhupada had not come, we wouldn't hear about these great, humble Vaishnavas. So many wonderful. Today is also the appearance day of Raghunandana Thakur. He was a son of Mukunda. And Mukunda, he would daily make the offerings, the Raj Bhog. And he had to go somewhere, so he asked his son, maybe he's 12 years old or something. 5! He was 5 years old. Okay. So please, you make the offering, this Raj offering to the Lord. I have to go. He said, okay. So he goes in and he's ringing the bell and he's offering. And then he goes. He comes back and the food is still there. Said, Lord, please, my father has asked me to offer this to you. Please eat. Honor this nice food that's been offered to you, please. So then he left and came back and it's still there. Said, please, my father will be angry with me if you don't accept this. And he was so sincere, there's practically tears coming out of his eyes. And, please, my dear Lord, accept this. So the Lord came down, and he ate it all. So then when Mukunda came back, he said, oh, can you give me some Mahaprasad? Oh, Peter, he ate it. He ate it all. What? Yeah, he ate it. So then he asked him to make another offering, a sweet, give him a laddu. So he's offering it. And again the Lord came down, but he only ate half. And Mukunda's watching now. So he also was a great devotee. So Mukunda thought, oh, he must have only taken half because he was full already from the meal. So then later, Lord Chaitanya asked Mukunda, who is the father, who is the son? And Mukunda said, I'm the son, he's the father, because he taught me what is real bhakti. Yeah. And he became a great, already he was a great, but he became a great Vaishnava. So today is also the appearance day of the Visnupriya, the consort of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, of course, Lord Chaitanya, he already had a wife, Lakshmi Priya, but she passed away due to bitten. You can describe bitten by the snake of separation. Yeah, because Lord Chaitanya, he was there in Navadvip, and he decided he wanted to go and Lakshmi Priya. I'm sorry, Lakshmi Priya. Excuse me. Yeah, Lakshmi Priya. So he went to go preach, in Bangladesh and different areas, and it was just too painful for her that he was gone. So she left her body. Was she actually bit by a snake? I think she was actually bit by a snake. Yeah. That happens a lot in India. Even there's people that have snake temples. They worship snakes, right? To avoid getting bit by a snake. I don't know if it works or not, but they're doing it. It happens a lot. Huh? Better worship Govardhan. I think it's in New Zealand. They don't have any snakes. There's some place they're not allowed. So of course Sachimata, she's completely disturbed now. Her daughter-in-law has passed away. And of course Lord Chaitanya, he knows everything. So when he returned, you could see that Sachi was very distraught, very disturbed. So she told him what had happened. So then after some time, then another marriage was arranged with Visnupriya. And both of these wives were like goddesses of fortune, so beautiful. So then Lord Chaitanya, he took sannyas. She was 16, right? 14. Wow. So Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. You can imagine how distraught she was. And now Mother Sachi also, this is what she feared the most. Her other son had left, taken sannyas. And now this is the greatest fear. And again now, she had so much affection for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he left, took sannyas. But Visnupriya, she was so austere that she would chant one round and put aside a grain of rice. Chant another round, another grain of rice. And at the end of the day, whatever grains of rice she would have, that's what she would take. Yeah, amazing. I mean, how many? If you chant, I don't know if one time I chanted 108 rounds. That's the most I ever chanted. Now that's only 108 grains of rice. Even if you chant 108, that's like it's like a little bit in your palm. Of course, we know of devotees chanting 192. That wasn't that common, not uncommon, right? Yeah, others also. So that's a lot of chanting. Raghunath Das Goswami is described that he would chant all day. Yeah. All day long he would chant. Yeah. So, but that's not very much, she wouldn't eat very much. She was very thin, you can imagine. Yeah. Not taking very much prasad. So, today is also the appearance day of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who was another great Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya, he would call out, "Father! Father! Father!" And devotees were like, "What? What's that? Who's he calling? Who's that?" Pundarik Vidyanidhi had not yet come. So then he came, and not many people knew of the greatness of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Mukunda did know of his greatness. And he asked Gadadhar Pandit, they were very close. He said, "You want to see a great Vaishnava?" "Oh yeah, I'd love to see great Vaishnava." So they went to where he was residing, and he was laid out on like a soft sofa, being fanned by two people, and just having drinks on each side, and just very beautiful, and looking in the mirror, and so and Gadadhar Pandit said, "What kind of a Vaishnava is this?" He was shocked. Yeah. He was shocked that person could even consider himself a Vaishnava like this. So Mukunda understood his mentality, and he chanted. Was it he chanted, or he asked Gadadhar Pandit to chant it? Mukunda chanted. Do you know the verse, Tavita Prabhu? You know the verse?
Bakiyam Kulakalakuta Jigangsayapya Hirapyasavi Lebe Gatim Datrichidam Katonyo Kamtham Gayatvam Dayalam something else after the last. But I hope how wonderful it is, or actually it's alas, because Uddhava is speaking and he's lamenting. Alas, how can I find anyone more merciful than Krishna? And gave the example. This Putana, she smeared her breast with terrible poison, intending Krishna to suck her breast and die. So he, as we know, he took the poison, he sucked the breast, but then he awarded her a position equal to a mother, as a wet nurse, as associated Yashoda in the spiritual world. So where am I going to go to find someone more merciful than Krishna?
See, we're very fortunate. See, we're taking shelter of a very merciful Lord. We may think, well, how is it possible for me to go back to Godhead? Well, here's the example. It's a demon tried to kill Krishna, but she made it. Here we're trying. We're trying. So Krishna, he sees that. So as it said, hope against hope. In other words, it seems impossible, but the Lord is very merciful. So there's hope that we can also achieve this mercy. So, as soon as Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard this, he went wild. Knocked over the trays and just rolling on the ground, just calling out, "My Lord is so merciful, my Lord is so merciful," and just in complete ecstasy. How long? For how long? 6 hours. He went unconscious. Just completely complete ecstasy. Now you can imagine Gadadharpani is like, now he's shocked again. So he decided that I've committed a great offense. So the only way to overcome this, I have to take shelter of him. So he asked Lord Chaitanya, can I take initiation from Pundarvidya? He said yes. Now what's interesting is Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi is Rishabhanu Maharaj. Yes. So the father, so it's appropriate, the father's initiating the daughter. So, and also there's an instance where Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he was at one temple, I think it was a Jagannath temple, and they were offering starched clothes. And he was, they're not supposed to be offered, they had to be washed, right? So he was doing a little criticism. So Lord Jagannath came at night and he's chastised him. Yeah. So he's slapping him. Jagannath with his Balaram and the Lord Jagannath, they're slapping him. I guess Balaram's hitting one side and Krishna's slapping the other side. Doubled up on him. And then he woke up, and his cheeks are swollen. It wasn't just a dream. So he was happy actually that he got the chastisement of the Lord.
Something for that.
Yeah.
He was it. I think Sup Damodar he complained to. He said, "Look what they're doing. They're offering starched clothes, unwashed clothes. This is not proper." And Sup Damodar said, "This is the way they've been doing it for many, many years. This is their system." He wasn't getting into the whole criticism, and that was the import of their slapping him. He said, "We like what we're getting, and you're trying to criticize them." So they were chastising him for that. And I don't know if that's another dimension to that. Yeah.
So today is also the disappearance of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, who was described. He was described as the he is known as the crest jewel of the Brahmanas. He was the leader of the devotees there in Vrindavan. So much so, then when they wanted to have this commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, he was the person that they approached. But he was elderly. So his disciple, Baladev Vijayabhushan, he instructed his disciple to do this. But he was the Acharya. And every day, throughout the world, we are all devotees here in ISKCON, we chant one of the songs that he composed, the Guru Vashtaka, Samsara Davan Alalita Loka. He composed that. We all chant that. It was beautiful, such a beautiful prayer. And when we're chanting this, actually we should be, in our mind, we should be, when we're doing the Guru Puja, we chant that out loud to everybody. We say, but with this Guru Vashtaka, within our mind, we should be going at what the actual meaning is. Otherwise, just we don't know what we're chanting. We should know, the meaning, and during the art, it makes it so much more rich, when you're it's going through your mind what we're actually chanting. It's very deep, actually. He was a very deep personality, very pure personality, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur.
Correct me, but I understand some devotees, many devotees, regard him as a reincarnation of Rupa Goswami. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the time frame is later. Yeah.
So they say he's the incarnation of Rupa Goswami.
Yeah, it's regarded like that.
Yeah, I read that also. I heard that also. Yeah. So great personality, and Prabhupada was inspired by his, in this verse, Vyavasya Amika Buddhi Eke Hakuna Bahusankhyantas Buddhyo Vyavisayanam, that the spiritual master, the disciple should accept the the order of the spiritual master as his life and soul. So that's there in his commentary. So Prabhupada was inspired by that comment by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, yeah. And none of these personalities worship demigods. They worshipped Krishna. Yeah. Now it's interesting that again on this verse here, is that Prabhupada, he had to deal with so much in India before he decided to come to the West, because he said it's such a hodgepodge. They worship so many demigods and so many deities and so many so-called gurus, and it's very difficult. So one thing that he liked about America is he didn't have to deal with the hodgepodge. They didn't know anything about demigods, they didn't know anything about all the incarnations, they didn't know anything about anything. Jesus. But that's okay. He said, we're not trying to take people away from Jesus. Someone's worshiping Jesus, we encourage them, be a good Christian. Right? So he appreciated that. What he had to convince them about was, this place is a place of suffering. But you can be happy by serving Krishna. So that's basically what he had to convince them about. Yeah. And he was very good at it. He was very good at it. All over the world, he made so many devotees by his powerful preaching. And Prahlad Maharaj also says, Tatsalamanye sarvaya dehinam sadasamudina dhyama sagra hedvatma patam griham andakupam vanam gatoya dharim ashrayeta. When Hiranyakasipu, by the way, he also worshipped the demigod, Brahma. Actually in the beginning he wanted to take his post, but then he decided, well, I'll just become immortal. I'll be happy with that. So he said to Hiranyakasipu, Tatsadamanye sarvaya dehinam, that anybody who has accepted the material body, this temporary body and temporary household life, is embarrassed by many reversals, having fallen into the well into the well of suffering, where there's no water. The dark well of suffering. There's no water. There's just suffering. Better go to the forest. Better go to the forest. Specifically, go to Vrindavan, and there perform austerities. Chant the holy names. Chant the names of Hari. Chant the names of Krishna. This is what you should do, Father. So he didn't like that too much. Yeah. So, but Prahlad Maharaj, he was such an extraordinary personality, so devoted to Krishna, that he also preached to his classmates, and they became devotees. They were sons of demons, and they became devotees, just like all of us. We're also sons of demons. Prabhupada's like that. One time a devotee asked Prabhupada, who are you? And what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. So we can't imagine who Prabhupada is. What he did is just enormous. And it's still going on. What he did is still happening. Many times when I'm distributing books, the people, they quote parts of purports. I like that statement. It's happened quite a few times. They're reading Prabhupada's books and they quote from Prabhupada's purports. So, well, I'm talking to them. Yeah, they come to the table while I'm talking to them. Oh, yeah, I have this book, yeah. And then they quote something from the purport. I like that. He's cool. He's cool. I like this Swami. Yes, of course. So, I think I covered them all, right? Huh? Oh, yeah. Lakshmi. You want? But we usually don't observe.
No, nothing to do with Lakshmi Devi. This is Vasanta Panchami. It's the 5th phase of the moon, but it's the first day of spring in India, Northern Hemisphere.
Holy.
No, it's not holy. But in Vrindavan, and we follow suit, that on this day they offer yellow and green clothing to the Lord. They offer yellow flowers, like you see the yellow roses on their lordships. And they engage in pujas because this is first day spring, so can our crops be good? And, for Saraswati's also there, so for education, this is her appearance day also. And it's stated that any auspicious endeavor, you want a good result, this is a good day to begin. So, we take the Vrindavan mood.
They got some yellow roses up there too.
Yellow roses, yeah.
Yes, Javida Prabhu.
A couple of things.
Yes.
Just a few more things about Raghunath Das.
Yeah.
One thing to remember is how that he immortalizes in his prayer. There's a wonderful prayer. If you're interested, I can give it to you. Gauranga Stava Kalpa Vriksha, 12 verses in remembering Lord Chaitanya in Puri, and there's a lot of nice statements there. And the last one, Mahasampadavat. I was burning in the forest fire of great opulence, and Lord Chaitanya saved me and put me in the care of his.
Wow. Burning in the forest fire of great opulence.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Lord Chaitanya saved me and gave me into the care of his dear Swarup Damodar. And then Lord Chaitanya had been to Vrindavan already, of course, and he had got this precious Govardhan Shila that he was always wearing around his neck, and the Gunja garland.
The shell.
Probably the little conch shells or berries,
Lord Chaitanya gave that to him.
So he gave them those, and he instructed him, to worship them. And so Swarup Damodar showed him a simple worship. He's offering tulsi and water, and it describes there in the CC how he was enjoying such transcendental pleasure, ananda, that couldn't even been dreamed by the greatest yogis and brahmas, what to speak of material, just by worshipping that simple Govardhan Shila. And then it's important to remember how when Lord Chaitanya left, he was so distraught that he went to Vrindavan to commit suicide by jumping off Govardhan Hill. But the devotees encouraged him, Rupa and Sanat and the other, they said, no, don't do that. We need to hear from you about these later Leela of Lord Chaitanya, the Antya Leela. So every day for like a few hours in Radhakund, 2 hours, he would describe these pastimes. And I think Krishna's Kaviraj was there. And he also heard, and so this is part of the content of what we have in the Antya Leelas, coming from that and the notes of Swarup Damodar.
Yeah.
But his remembrances are very important for transmitting what we have of Lord Chaitanya's final Leela.
Also, I remember reading that when he would be worshipping the Govardhan Shila, he would see Krishna in the Shila. He would see Krishna. Just like Lord Chaitanya, he would also see Krishna in Jagannath. He would see. Yeah.
That Shila's in Lokanath Goswami's Radha Gokulananda.
That's there. The Shila's there.
It's a little tiny one, and the thumbprint of Lord Chaitanya has been imprinted upon it.
Wow.
He always held it to his heart. He's also the Priyojana Acharya. I mean, Radhagiridhari, he worships the Lord, but when you come to the stage of bhakti where actually love is beginning to, it's a reality, bhava, then it's recommended that you worship, pray for the blessings of Ranganath Das Goswami, because he's the Priyojana Acharya. And it's an ocean, and thank you very much. You really stirred the nectar pot. A couple of things, if you allow me to also. You gave credit to Haridas Thakur, and definitely, no question. Also his own Diksha Guru, Yadunandan Acharya, and this is because Advaita is coming up in a couple of days, his appearance. But Yadunandan is a disciple of Advaita Acharya, so you know the glories and the bhakti for Lord Chaitanya would be also passing down in that way. And it was 12 days that he went through the four.
12, okay.
And the reason why I say it is because he only was able to eat 1/4 of those, 3 of the days. And the rest of the time there was nothing to eat, but he just kept on running, going, nonstop. And the other 2 principles that you didn't remember in his instruction, very valid for us, is don't talk like the non-devotees, or listen
or hear what they have to say. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, he had covered the other 6. And Vishnupriya, she's in Gauragana Deshtapika, understood to be an incarnation of Satyabhama. That's really cool. And she's worshipped Janavi, established for the Gaudiyas at the Kaitari festival. Narottam Das Thakur is the first real organized Gaur Purnima festival that we would worship Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip, not as a sannyasi. Gaura Narayan and Lakshmi and Vishnu Priya's side by side. And if anybody's interested, I have a beautiful picture of the deity she worshipped while she was doing her vrat of chanting and then just taking the rice grains that she did offering, and she'd give half of that to Mother Sachi. It wasn't that she even and I don't mind saying, I'll say with folded hands, but some people say in the ISKCON Desire-Tree, the Jaya Tirthacharan or whatever, he quotes this, but I've heard it both ways, that it was a grain for one mantra. So you would have had a pot of grain of rice, but she was still only eating just that rice and like giving it to Mother Sachi, and if anybody else came in. There's no question it was very austere, and she became emaciated. But I was going to say, if anybody's interested, I have a picture of Dameshwara that she worshipped. It's still being worshipped there in Navadvip. If anybody wants to have the darshan, very, very merciful and beautiful deity.
Thank you. Javeda Prabhu.
When Lord Chaitanya was about to take sannyas, she was, of course, distraught and heartbroken so much, and he came to see her, and there's a conversation that he had which was recorded, I think, in Chaitanya Mangal, or Chaitanya Mangal, which is very heartrending, and he actually revealed, if I remember correctly, he revealed himself as the supreme, as Krishna to her.
Forearm form, I think. I believe.
Yeah, so that she, because it was devastating to her, the whole thing. But she was, with that knowledge and understanding that he would always be with her, because he's like that, she was able to survive. And, Sachi Devi had already lost Vishwarup, and Jagannath had passed away because Vishwarup had gone, so she was all alone.
And she also had many children before that passed away, right?
8, was it 8? I think 8 it's daughters. They passed away at birth, so it was very devastating. So when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he promised to stay in Jagannath Puri so she'd get news, and everything, and he would send people to her with news. So.
She got to see her son when he came to Shantipur. She got to see him. Mother Sachi got to have his company twice.
Right.
When he came through.
But not Vishnupriya. She lamented.
Vishnupriya was the only one.
Everybody gets to see him, but me. She was lamented. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful class. We have 28 people watching now.
Hare Krishna. 28.